Hi guys, can you hear me? Awesome, cool. And Christina is here. Thank you so much for coming, Christina. Hi Amber, hi Gabby. Just a really quick TLDR. My moderators are in the live. Hi Christina.
Hi, how are you?
I'm really well. Thank you so much
Great.
for agreeing to meet me.
Of course.
So I know that I got actually connected to you through one of my mods, Gabby. She's in the live. Hi, Gabby. And I just wanted to talk to you in regards to being an author because I feel like a lot of people don't really understand what being an author means. I think they think you think of one idea and then that idea sees you through to the end of your journey.
Yeah, I get that a lot. I'll get a lot of people asking, I've got this great idea for a book. Now what? It's a lot more complicated than just having. I think I read that 99% of people interviewed in the United States believed they had a story worth telling, and less than, hold on, let me get my Substack up because I did write the numbers down, and I thought it was quite eye-opening. Do you mind if I rattle off numbers?
Go ahead. By the way, this video is sponsored. More about them whenever we get to it.
Perfect. How do I get to my post? Okay, there we go. So between 2 and 2.6 million books are self-published every year. Between 500,000 and 1 million books are trad published every year. Yes, 90% of people surveyed believe they have a story worth telling. Fewer than 15% ever even start to write it. Of those 15%, around 3% will ever finish a manuscript. In other words, out of 100 people who feel they have a story worth telling, 0.45% ever finish even writing one manuscript.
Yeah, I made a joke on Trisha Finley's live. I'm on her lives a lot, but I was like, listen, if you tell me you have a story about purple giraffes in space fighting the Mormons, by all means, you telling me that means absolutely nothing. You better sell it to me because that sounds like a wacky story right out the gate.
Yep.
And it's not that I feel like I have a lot of indie authors on my shelf. I'm still trying to get through all of them. It's not that it's a bad thing that some people want to self-publish because the publishing industry is very rigid in what they will accept. Like polar bears. If they don't think the effort for a book is worth their time and energy, they're not going to give it to you. That doesn't mean your story's not worth telling.
It's even more than that. Now I feel like they accept books based on a lot of variables outside of the story itself. It's do you have a social media following? Do you have a 6-book series idea? Are you book talk viral? Like, it has nothing to do with the quality of your story. If they've decided that they're done accepting contemporary romances for the year.
Yeah, like that guy that was a rugby player who had a large fan base based on that, and then he went on TikTok and said into the ether, I think I want to write a story, and then he got a 6-figure publishing deal. He didn't write a damn word. He said, I think I have a story. That's not a story. That's a concept of a concept.
Which a lot of people have.
Which, it's fine if you have a concept of a concept, but do not sit here and tell me I have a book. No, we have an idea. We have like 2% of an idea.
And that's what I mean. It's writing is simple but hard in more than one way. Having the idea, fleshing out the characters, following story beats, it's all very simple, but the execution of it is very hard. And that's why people... I think those stats that I started off with is an important reality check because, ideas are cheap and easy. Everyone has them. I have 75 works in progress of ideas that maybe become stories or not. Ideas are never the problem. It's the execution that's difficult.
I like to tell people, it's like, I have idea bunnies. And like all bunnies, it starts with one, and then you look away for too long, and suddenly you have a farm. And then you look away again, and then you're like, please stop. I literally can't keep up with the ideas.
Yeah, same. I like that, idea bunnies. I'll have to use that myself.
This is one idea bunny. This is my big idea bunny. My book I wrote, that was my one idea bunny. I came back to the farm. What happened? There were like great-grandchildren off of this one idea.
Yeah. That's funny. I'll thanks, Gabby.
Oh, thanks, Gabby. Yeah, shout out to Gabby for putting this together. She literally was like, I will get you an interview. And I was like, oh, that's nice. And she goes, I got you an interview. Go say hi. I was like, girl. Okay, bye.
Thanks, Gabby.
To be honest, when I reached out to you, I was like, dude, she's got all kinds of books. There's no way that she's gonna wanna talk to me. I shot my shot. Dear chat, my intro message to this woman wasn't even professional. I literally flew by her hoping she'd miss me.
Sorry, you got me.
Yeah, but I'm really glad that I am talking to you because I know from my e-stalking of you, I'm sorry, I had to. From my e-stalking of you, a lot of your works are romance, which is like the biggest of the whales for publishing because people like romance.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, ain't no way. I feel like all of these books took 10 years easy.
Gabby, close your ears. So can I give you a little background to my story? How this came about? I got my bachelor's degree in horses. I got my master's degree in IT project management, and I failed my way up the corporate ladder until I was a deputy program manager for a defense contractor. Don't ask me how. I have no idea. I kept getting promoted, and I should have been saying no. I actually asked to be demoted at one point, and they wouldn't allow it.
Could you please stop letting me fail upwards? That would be great.
Be great, but it's the government, so that doesn't happen. But I had dealt with a lot of stress. My dad was diagnosed with terminal kidney cancer. We were working ridiculously long hours on a proposal for the renewal of the contract that we were on. And life was just hard. And I was corporately burnt out, and trigger warning for addiction, drinking myself into an early grave. And something happened, and my boss was going to be micromanaging me even more. And I went to my husband and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I'm like, I don't see how it gets better from here. And I am stressing myself out to the point that I'm sick. And I was like, look, I've written this book. It's not out yet, but it's getting good feedback so far. You know, can you give me a year to try to make this book thing work full time? And he agreed to it. And we are beyond blessed that we could financially afford for me to quit. And that was February. In March, my first book came out, and I am on my schedule is I write for 60 days. I edit for 30. I edit and promote for 30. And that gets me 4 books a year. And so by the time a year came around, I only had 4 books out. I wasn't making the money that I needed to be. So I sat my husband down. I'm like, okay, am I going back to work? Am I working at McDonald's? Am I working at Home Depot? Like, what are we doing as a family? And he was like, no. He was like, you have been so much happier. It's reflected in our family, in our home, in our relationship, our marriage. He was like, no, like you are getting good feedback. Your books are good. People like them. Keep going. And so I have myself on a schedule to put out 4 books a year. And Gabby hates me for it.
I mean, Gabby also yells at me because I am trying to grow my confidence. Gabby, please. Flowers take a long time to grow. Be nice. But no, that makes sense. When I tell people it took me 10 years to publish my first book, they think 10 years consecutively. And I had to look and I was like, I started writing this book when I was 17 and in high school, and I was mad at Twilight. That is the origin of this book. And it went through 3 or 4 different genre changes, and because I went to college right on top of it, it was like, I started at 17, I worked on it for like maybe a year, I fell off of it, I came back to it. When I say 10 years, people in their head assume back to back to back to back. No. I had life stuff going on. I was starting my life, so I couldn't dedicate to this. Ooh, I got stuff. Thank you.
Yeah, when I describe it to people, it's burning the boats. I'd quit a very high-paying corporate job, and I didn't have a choice. I had to make being an author work for me. And I think that also helped a lot in me not taking my books too seriously.
Yeah.
I love my books, don't get me wrong. I write the books that I want to read. But I'm not gonna stress if there's a typo or a plot hole and also being indie published, if I want to change something down the road, I can. And so I feel like a lot of people struggle with imposter syndrome And that keeps them from ever publishing because they need it to be perfect right out of the gate. And it doesn't, I'm here to tell you, it doesn't have to be. I'm reading a Natasha Madison book. She's been writing for 10, 20 years. I'm finding typos in every chapter.
Yeah. So I'm in the middle of, my second book is already written because I was writing it alongside the first, and I had gotten rid of a lot of my bad habits from the first one, so the second one was easier to write, but I'm on to my, air quotes, next book. And I literally wrote down, because I'm looking at it right now, I wrote down right here, okay, something Victorian England era. We've been in Victorian England so long, girl. Can we please move on to any other era? I wrote this and went to bed, and I left it there. There's a reason why. You get so caught up when you're writing that eventually you just start talking to yourself on the page. Girl, can we go to bed? Sure.
I did that yesterday. I was at my son's baseball practice. Hold on, I want to read it to you because it's the funniest thing. Because it was exactly that. It was like, this doesn't make sense here. Like, he doesn't have a phone. Maybe they switched phones. Just like talking myself out. I don't remember what chapter it was in.
And I think that's like the curse of the author is that because it's you having to make your world, you are God, and on the first day, I created the world. What's next?
Yeah.
What do you mean, what's next? You got a world, what's on it?
Yeah.
I don't know, we're gonna wing it.
Well, and I don't know if it's me. I have a TBI. I fell off my horse. My horse went down with me in my 20s, and I got a horrible concussion from it. And so my memory is the size of a goldfish's. And I'll write my stories and forget what I've written almost like immediately. And so I finished one story and sent it to my beta team, and one of them replied back and was like, so does she get a turtle or a dog? And I'm like, what? I don't remember that scene. So I had to go back and write it.
Does she get a turtle or a dog? I don't know, none of my kids are getting turtles or dog. Why are you asking me? Them, your character? This is news to me.
Exactly. And I had written that scene maybe a month prior. Like, oh my gosh.
You know what? I also struggle with memory, so sometimes I do also straight up write stuff, and then I have to go back and read after I do I call it my vomit chapters, where you're just getting it all out, and I'm like, who are you? Why are you here? Did I invent you? Did you come in from another story?
And then you get, so I really like, I don't know who originally said it. I'm sure it was in the 1600s. But artists talk about how they don't create the art, they channel it from source, right?
Yeah.
And so
whatever plot bunny found me, I'm trying.
Yeah, I had a side character who was just supposed to exist to make the main male characters jealous. And then he was like, no, I'm a main male character now. Deal with it. And I'm like, oh, I know nothing about you. Your backstory, your origin, your false belief.
That's actually how my main character for the book that I did publish, Lungs Full of Grave Dirt, happened. When I first started out, she was the second best friend who I didn't name's unnamed girlfriend. She didn't even have speaking lines.
That's awesome.
Do you know how far you have to come from being a non-character to being the main character over 10 years? Like, she would not get out of the limelight. I was like, okay, fine. What's your story?
Yeah, and that's the one that I'm writing right now is the second in a series that would not let me work on the book I was supposed to be working on. Because every time I was driving somewhere or in the shower or whatever, she was demanding to write her story. And I'm like, can I brainstorm like the work in progress I'm supposed to be writing? And she's like, no, not until you finish mine. Okay. 30,000 word novella later, and she's out there.
Yeah, I was raised by two autistic morticians, so pause before you start, right? They had their special interest, which was trains and clowns. So growing up in the house, if you were scared of either of those, no, you weren't. You got desensitized really quickly. But I remember talking to my mother, because whenever we would watch movies, they would nitpick it. They would nitpick it hard. Like Jurassic Park, they had never watched it until I wanted to watch it. So they're watching right out the gate, right? They were like, well, realistically, this fencing just doesn't make any sense. We have no proof that they would be susceptible to electricity like their dog. It was hard to watch movies with them, but I'm really glad that I grew up in that environment is because I nitpick the hell out of my own writing before I even go anywhere. Well, realistically, this just doesn't make any sense. I feel like Kronk. How did we get here? Where are we going?
That's a great tool to have, though, as a writer. I feel like when I help other writers kind of flesh out their idea, it's a lot of that. It's a lot of asking questions. It's a lot of like, okay, you have this premise, this idea, why did this happen? How does do the puzzle pieces come together in the beginning to allow this scenario to take place? Have you read Save the Cat Writes a Novel?
Yes. As antiquated as that sounds, that is a tried and true method. Just like Gladwell's 10,000 Hours idea, we boiled it down to brass tacks so everybody and their mother can understand it. The actual application is not that easy.
No, I agree completely. I was in their log line section. They talk about finding your irony, irony. So like, what's a good example? Pride and Prejudice. It's
the OG story.
It's the first opposites attract. So she's very poor, comes from a loud, boisterous, unrefined family. He's very wealthy, comes from
very autistic. I've told people I'm gonna plant my flag on that hill. He's the first autistic protagonist we ever got.
I absolutely can back that. But yeah, so if you have an idea, where's the irony in it? Where's the opposite? Where's the conflict, the foil, and fleshing out a story like that is just so much fun.
Yeah, being able to, it's like gradients, right? You have to be able to do all of these colors match and everything. You can actually find out by using today's sponsor by using my affiliate link that I will be posting later on this video. Coolors is today's sponsor. That's COOLORS. Colors is a website that helps you actually find out all of the gradients and things that you need to use. You can actually pick a color you specifically like and it will help you flesh out which colors work best with it and which colors absolutely do not. I do not earn one red penny unless you use my affiliate link, but that's completely not important to today's episode. Again, the website is COOLORS. Coolers. And now back to our regularly scheduled program.
That was a perfect segue.
Thanks. We do it live and we do it fast. That's literally writing. We're doing it live, we're doing it fast. I also find that irony specifically for romance needs to be somewhat believable. It's the reason why rom-coms are like high-fast sugar food for movies. It's funny, it's cute. As a reader, I would be tearing my hair out because they make no sense after a minute.
Yeah, oh my gosh, my brain. The Hallmark movies.
Oh my god. I'm a high corporate business owner who makes 6 figures. I'm going home to my small town for Christmas and I fell in love with the bakery guy who makes $45K a year. I'm gonna quit my job. Girl. What are we doing?
Yeah.
I feel like every single one of those movies. Like, we could still be a high class lawyer and also go back to our town and still like the bakery man. We do not have to quit our job.
Or like the Hallmark movies are very much like, not so much the miscommunication trope, but like if y'all communicated,
right,
it wouldn't be a storyline.
I know it's extraordinarily easy to rag on the big publishing houses and the romances they put out. But again, if it's not broke, don't fix it. They love their tropes. They love the Sarah J. Maas's and whatever the fuck the other Christina is putting out all the time. Her books make me very nervous. Like, It Ends With Us. Girl, this is not a love story. This is a horror story. What are we doing? This is false advertising. But they work. So that's why they push them, and that's why they're so popular. Me, personally, I have bones to pick, but everybody's picked those bones. There are no more bones to pick.
So in Save the Cat, in the original one, he talks about how Hollywood particularly is taking franchises that are already very popular and turning them into movies and TV shows. And it's kind of lazy on the part of the producers because there's a level of guaranteed success in there. Heated rivalry, for example, you have a rabid fan base already in the bookish community, and turning it into a TV show is a no-brainer. There's no risk involved. However, that being said, I am loving all of these books that are getting turned into TV and movie adaptations, as long as they're done well.
Yes.
Lights Out is getting a TV adaptation. Butcher and Blackbird. There's a number of other ones, and it's lazy on the part of the developers, but I'm here for it.
I also find that when they do this, for reasons unknown to man and God, they decide, we're just going to start making stuff up after a while. It's like, you literally have a script pre-printed out. Just copy pasta it. Just copy pasta it. You don't even have to work hard.
Yeah. That's why I think they did Heated Rivalry so well. They nailed the characters impeccably, and they followed the script almost to the letter. Fourth Wing was announced.
Ooh,
sorry.
That's going to be super interesting. I've never read Fourth Wing. I've been meaning to get around to it, but I've got so much other books to read. I'm like, I'll just listen to other people who talk about books on the internet gentle parent me through this discourse.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I haven't read it yet.
That's like Alchemized, the book that was a Dramini fanfiction. I became very aggravated. I was chomping at the bit for days because I was so mad. I was like, I am not bad that this woman wrote fanfiction, right? A lot of us started there because it's easy to chomp your teeth on pre-established works. I am mad at the fact that you guys are trying to sit here, piss on me and tell me it's raining like I don't know it's fanfiction. I can smell it.
I mean, 50 Shades of Grey was fan fiction.
And you could smell it. It's like,
that's fair.
What are we doing?
I also haven't read 50 Shades. I know it seems sacrilegious, but...
Oh no, if you like the books you like, I can't yuck your yum. However, I don't particularly like this. Whatever you serve me, please stop trying to get me to order from this place.
That's funny. I haven't gotten into romantasy because I feel like I have an all or nothing personality. And romantasy combines such addictive elements that if I dip my toe in, I won't be seen for days. Like, cat's not getting fed, kid's not getting fed. Like, it's gonna be bad.
Husband not getting fed, husband, why am I doing collateral damage?
Exactly. I was so mad at reading 50 Shades, the FMC was giving me migraines.
See, yes. So I also feel like certain authors, like me, I like gothic and I like horror, which are not synonymous, BT dubs. You can have a horror book and it not be gothic, but you can't have a gothic book and automatically make it horror. Gothic, just by nature, is set in a specific way. That's why it's considered horror. I like writing that. And when I was like, you know what? I want to write a romance. I realized, okay, I actually am going to have to drag somebody who does write romance with me through this parade of hell because I don't know what it is to do romance, because in my mind, why can't we just have an established couple and go from there? Do we have to go through this whole circus? And we're not allowed to do that.
The circus is the fun, though.
That's what I've been told. You have to go through the circus.
You do.
Can't we just say we went through the circus and give them the t-shirts we got?
I think that's where Save the Cat calls it the fun and games portion.
Yes. And it's like, okay. Also, the Save the Cat for gothic horror has to be gut-wrenching. Like, there has to be something that goes with it, and that is, like, the worst part about it, is because you gotta make it believable to the story. Like, you can't just throw something out there, and it's like, I would not wish gothic horror on my worst enemy to write if they don't know how to do it. Please don't make me write romance, it's hard.
That's fair. I think I love reading romance. That's contemporary romance is primarily what I read, which is also why I love writing it. But I think too, people who have been in my chats know this about me already, but I am living my very own happily ever after with a second chance romance book boyfriend level husband. So I want the warm, soft, fuzzy feelings at the end of a romance, because that's my daily life. I'm incredibly spoiled.
I can hear your second chance book boyfriend giggling somewhere in the background. You are not subtle, sir. I hear you.
Yeah, we dated in middle school and high school, lost each other when his family moved. We had a one-night stand when he was back from the Marine Corps, and then he got married, I got married, and we found each other on social media when we first started going through our divorces, and we're kind of there coaching each other emotionally because they were very difficult, but for different reasons. And we were friends and helped each other. And it was really the best way to start a relationship, a serious one. And that was 14 years ago. We've been married for 12 and have a 10-year-old kid. So
the 10s.
It's wonderful.
They're finally old enough to have an opinion, and you're like, bing bong, your opinion is wrong, but thank you for sharing it.
All of the opinions. Opinions on opinions. Yes.
I love my nieces and nephews, I really do, but sometimes listening to them talk, I can physically feel like the brain cells having a debate on what point do we debunk first.
I can see that.
And then all I can think of is, you guys are making my plot bunny scared. Stop.
And their opinions are never wrong. Exactly.
They are. They're so goofy. But yeah, so while I was writing my first book, I started in between, right, writing my second, which is a gothic Rapunzel retelling, and I know people get all up in arms about it, but I'm like, you do realize you could make the original gothic stuff like a whole step further, right? Like, we've grown as people, we've discovered new ways to be terrible to each other. We have the technology.
That's true. I haven't read any gothic. Do you have a one you recommend starting with? Or your own?
Mine is bad. You don't want to read mine.
I do want to read yours.
The Haunting of Hill House actually was a big inspiration for it, just because there is a haunted house in mine, and the house is semi-sentient, but because the main character's never lived in it, it's never had to figure out what she's scared of, so it's just throwing everything it can think of at her that are like everyday fears, and that's not what she's particularly scared of, so she's just aggravated the entire book, like,
That's
no.
Cool.
So the reason why the book is funny is because she gets told by a lawyer when she inherits that she has to go to the house to see it and view it before she can do anything with it. She's like, okay, fine. And then the lawyers that take her there are talking about the book and all this other stuff, and then they're like, by the way, we've been with your family for a long time. She goes, yeah, I imagine a rich family has lawyers out the wazoo, and they're like, we're vampires. And she goes, oh, okay. She goes to the bathroom, turns the water on, and goes, these people are crazy. I gotta get up out of here. She doesn't even pretend to give them the time of day because she's not that kind of person. And then after everything that's happening, she's like, you know what? I'm not even gonna let God take this one. We're just gonna get out of here on our own. And then her son is there, and you're like, you had a kid? Yes, I bury that lead really deep is because I don't want you to know about her son until like the Hail Mary moment, because then you are just like her, like, why are you here?
That's awesome. Yeah, the house I grew up in was 400 years old and absolutely haunted. We absolutely had a mimic, if you're into Appalachian lore. Several ghosts.
Me and you, I think, had the same childhood. My parents were morticians. There's creepy things in the basement. It's just the people we work on down there. Can you tell them to shut up? I can hear them through the vents.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
But no, it was a weird childhood, is because by the time you're old enough to remember that was weird, you're already so far past it, you're like, I think I had a crazy childhood.
Yeah, we have a ghost cat. I know that sounds very strange, but we have a ghost cat that lives here, and we have 4 cemeteries within throwing distance. This house is new. This house was 1993, I think. But we have had, and tens of thousands of years of native history here. We have had somebody blowing in our ears while we sleep at night.
That's so rude. Like, if you're gonna haunt me, can you do it in the traditional sense? Throw stuff?
Right, something. Just lurk in the corner. Like, why are you waking me up?
Flicker the lights so I can complain about my light bill?
Exactly. Yeah, so we have a slave cemetery, essentially in our backyard. And then we have 2 white family cemeteries from who owned the plantation. And then we have a modern cemetery from the neighbor. It's her husband and daughter, unfortunately, that are buried there. But yeah, we live on a farm, about 18 acres, and we can't dig a hole in our backyard without finding arrowheads.
I think we live on one of them, what do you call it? They're here kind of movie places.
Oh no.
You know what I'm talking about. I can't think of it though. Yeah. They're here. Yeah. They better be paying rent if they're gonna be here. No, it's super weird though when you grow up in, I'm just gonna call them weird environments, because by the time you realize, I had a weird childhood, you're an adult and you're like, I can't even go to therapy about this because how do I even start that conversation?
I understand, right.
Like, I know for a fact that I saw this, and I know for a fact that I saw it is because when I brought it up to the 2 people who were raising me, autistic as they were like, just ignore it. There was something in my closet. And I don't mean like, oh, you just are imagining things. No, there was something in my closet. I could see it staring at me even in broad daylight. And when I brought it up to them, their response was, if you ignore it, it'll go away. First of all, that's wild logic, because it worked. But second of all, How are you gonna say that to like a 7-year-old?
Right. Yeah, we when the ghost blew in my ear, that a couple months ago, I told my husband, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that happens all the time." Excuse me,
You
sir?
didn't say nothing. You didn't say nothing because
Right. I'm like, "Oh, we're just letting ghosts blow in our ears for funsies." Okay, cool. Thanks for warning me. Love that.
you know what? I know for a fact that if that ghost ever came out of my television, right? You know what I want to talk about. My first thought wouldn't be, oh no, I gotta get out of here. I'd be like, this bitch is gonna run up my cable bill. I can feel it. This goes beyond pay-per-view.
I want to write a book where she's the main female character and it's a romance.
How does that work? She finds some guy just sobbing on his couch and it's like, I got fired, my girlfriend left me. Sir, you might actually be too pathetic for me to haunt. Are you good? Do you need help? I just need to cry. Yeah, you do.
I don't know how it's going to work, but I really want to write it.
My nephew made fun because he got his wisdom teeth removed and I didn't know what else to put on because I had all the other little kids. So I put on the original Snow White, and while Snow White was singing in the well, he was like, can you imagine a well ghost just being woken up by this woman every day? Like, she would be so mad. I was like, I love that this is where we go when we are on anesthesia. A well ghost must hate this woman. Why do you keep waking me up every morning?
That's funny. I love that.
First of all, it was a funny idea, and I was like, you should write a book. And he's like, no. I was like, okay.
Actually, I think this summer I'm gonna teach my son at least just the basics of story writing. You know, I think humans grew up telling oral stories, and I do believe the ability to tell a good story is a important human ability. Even just like
M dash semicolon colon
exactly
ellipses.
Even if it's just telling the story of, I don't know, you going out for dinner with a friend, like to be able to tell that and make it interesting, I feel like is a human skill that can be learned and practiced.
Yeah, also I feel like a lot of people don't have, I'm not going to say memory of this, I'm going to say they're not taught this. Human beings literally started doing all kinds of artistic stuff. We drew on walls, we would tell each other stories over and over again. Usually the stories were, don't go out into the woods in the middle of the night. That is not the way you want to go out.
Right.
This is the reason why we do this, because it helps us. But because so much of those traditions over time have been lost and eradicated, a lot of stuff is now just people talking online to other people in like 60 different countries and states.
I agree.
Like,
we have lost, even the old Grimm fairy tales had lessons behind them. And now, like, you watch a Marvel movie, and what's the lesson? Be the hero? And yes, that's an important lesson, but
how do you define being a hero?
And how does that apply to the average accountant? You know what I mean?
I would hate to be an insurer, somebody who ran insurance in the Marvel universe. It's like, well, was your car parked or was it used to smash?
Exactly.
Oh, it was collateral damage. I'm sorry, we don't have that policy. Actually, I have a YouTube channel, and I have been doing a long-form essay in the background of discussing Studio Ghibli and how every single protagonist in that, I'm not even going to call it franchise, in that studio has their own version of a hero's journey, but every hero's journey is so wildly different from one to the next, even if it ends in tragedy.
I agree with that completely.
Grave of the Fireflies, people always are like, it's so sad, and I'm like, yes it is. And there is a story to be told in this, that even if he had not decided to run away from his aunt's house, he probably still would have ended up in this exact same position, because after the war was terrible for everybody.
I love my husband very, very much. But we were watching that movie, and he was like, stuff was going way over his head. And I'm like, oh, that's the sister. What? I'm like, you didn't pick up on that? He was like, no. Okay. But I do think that as storytellers ourselves, we can get into the mindset of the people who are writing the stories and understand, what are they called? Not plot points, but
Motifs,
themes, tools that they use to move plot and to move the characters and to serve the themes that a lot of people might not pick up on.
Right, like in Howl's Moving Castle, Markle tells us, the audience, pretty early Hal is gone doing whatever gay shit he's doing for weeks on end. For a book, I would love to be gently parented through 6 weeks of whatever the fuck he's doing. We don't got that kind of time in a movie, so we have to rapid pace this love story, which is not rapid paced in the book it's based on. But I knew it was a love story the second that he finds her the first time. There you are, sweetheart. I've been looking everywhere for you. I was like, this is a love story. Don't sit here and lie to me. And then what happened? It was a love story.
Yep. No,
My email. My cat's here. She's just laying here looking at me like, you ate. You ate.
My dogs are outside soaking up the sun.
That's nice. Justia asked, are you a map or compass writer? I'm a walk into the wall in the middle of the night, going to the bathroom writer.
I need a solid outline. Not saying I don't jump around a lot, because I still do. I am my own worst enemy. But I pantsed my first book, and the editing and the rewriting and the moving of chapters and things around gave me such a migraine during editing. I won't do it to myself again. Solidly outlined.
Yeah. So I have an idea for a gothic fantasy, but there's 3 POVs that I have to juggle, and it's very aggravating because I had made a Google Doc and I put this person's POV, this person's POV, this person's POV, and Juniper, who's in the chat, literally because she's reading, one of her comments was, "Where's chapter 15?" I was like, oh no, I forgot. Hold on. Do you know what I mean? Because you're just so busy writing and trying to get it all out that somebody is like, where? Great question. We'll find it when we find it.
Later. I start my outlines, and I worked with a developmental editor for my first book, and she was fantastic. And she had me write the outline in an Excel spreadsheet. So first column is chapter number, second column is POV, third column is kind of like a 1 or 2 sentence summary of what happens in that chapter. And then the next column is why. Does this move the B story along? Does this bring them closer together? Does this pull them further apart? And with romance, the romance is the story. So it is very character driven, and it's very much what 2 people have to get through to fall in love. There's a lot of character arc building. So at the beginning, they always have to have a fatal flaw, a false belief, a character wound, and then they have to do a lot of character development before they're allowed to have their happily ever after. And so that in an Excel spreadsheet, absolute gift from God. Because now I'm on to chapter 2. I know exactly whose POV it is. I know what happens in the chapter, and I know why. So I can make sure that that is the North Star of this chapter and that I don't wander. Because I will. But as long as my goal for the scene is the first almost kiss, that becomes the focus of the scene. And it keeps me from pulling in ideas or characters that don't need to be there or other focus. And then she had me pull that into a Word doc and build out the chapters a little more. So instead of 1 sentence, it's 3 to 5. And that becomes the bones of your story, and the writing part becomes so much easier.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't really understand, for writing, when you have your first idea, the first thing you write, consider it your vomit draft. You're just getting all of it out. None of it's going to make sense. And then you should, after you do your vomit draft, take a vacation for a little while, come back to it, and then be like, who wrote this? What crazy person wrote this? And then start picking out the things that actually make sense. Yes, I understand you want a small animal sidekick. Does the small animal sidekick actually have a purpose, or you just put it in there for marketability? Don't lie.
Yep.
Juniper, yes, there it is. Here you go, chapter 15. Yeah, I literally was like, okay, we gotta write this right now. And I actually, for this gothic fantasy that I'm writing, actually had to make a world building doc for myself, just so I could keep track of everything. I had to actually stop myself because I almost fell into one of the classic blunders of getting way too deep into it. I was like, no, we've got everything absolutely we need. Stop touching this. Move on to actually writing the book.
Yeah, marketing got to you.
I love the Fox and Quicksilver. Marketing got to me. Yes. And I think that's another thing that a lot of people... Yeah, Gabby, how do you stick to your schedule? How do you stick to your schedule, Christina?
I don't.
Same. I feel like writers just wake up and then just keep doing stuff, and then they're like, all right, time to go to bed. The sun is rising. It is time to go to bed.
I have been trying to be better about going live Tuesdays and Thursdays because I feel like in the age of AI, good gravy, being able to show a face. ADHD people have a schedule? Yeah, no.
The schedule is I made it the fuck up.
Right. Being able to show my face that there's an actual human being. She said that on a Wednesday, by the way. When I was live on Wednesday. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, being able to show face the person behind and the process. Whenever I do my lives, I happily show my outlines, my formatting software, how I have everything set up. I think it's an important part of marketing is to be able to put a face to the name. But there's no schedule. Do you keep a notebook for each book? I do not, but contemporary romance doesn't have a ton of world building, so I don't have a ton of pieces that I need to keep track of, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I saw you today. I guess you're human with a lot of ghost pets. You're okay.
Yeah,
Listen to me. It's not about the ghosts. It's about the friends we make along the way.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's, romance is like the biggest whale out of all of the white whales that even contemporary and traditional publishers like, because it's like a guaranteed cash cow, but also you can fall into the trap of, I think you might need to take a step back for a couple of days, because this is getting to be a little bit of a weird story.
Yeah, the romance, what's wild to me, maybe wild, maybe not surprising. I will have men come into my lives and say that what I'm writing creates unrealistic expectations. It's like corn for women. And it's funny to me because all of my male characters are wildly different. Old, young, dumb, smart, successful, not, chubby, hot. And all they do is listen and pay attention and take care of their women. And that's why the romance industry is so much of the whale of publishing. Is because that's what women want. We want to be seen and we want to be heard and we want to be taken care of. We want to be noticed. We want to be able to say that I prefer mozzarella in my grilled cheeses and your man remembers that. Is that
yes? It's not even like it's an unrealistic standard. It's I would agree myself something to eat and snack on, and I know from this place I am going, she likes the chicken sandwich. So then what happens? He comes home, he's got his sandwich, he's got your sandwich, and he's just handing it to you. You didn't ask him for it, he just was like, yes, this will be an us thing right now.
That's all we want.
Like, bonus points if you remember to put the seat down after you're done so I don't fall in. Like, bonus points. I'm not gonna ask for the moon, though. That's a little hard for you.
I think, what's your favorite genre to read? Romance.
It's her bread and butter. She's got to know what everybody else be doing.
Yeah, exactly. But Gabby, you got me on a squirrel. Now I forgot what I was going to say.
Toilet seat down. Bonus points. Chicken sandwich.
Toilet seat down. Exactly. No, I forgot. That's what I was going to say. I feel like in human and society evolution, women didn't have a lot of choice when it came to their romantic partners. They, at 20, thought the guy was going to be good, so they married him and couldn't back out when he turned out not to be. They didn't have their own money. They didn't have their own credit cards. They couldn't own property. And so there was this inherent imbalance in power in relationships. So men didn't have to be considerate. No. It wasn't a requirement to procreate. And it is now. And I think men haven't adapted to the fact that women have more choice now. We're making money now. We can divorce you or choose never to date you in the first place if you're not considerate. And I think some men obviously have well adapted. My husband's one of them. He's not the sharpest tool in the shed, but he cares for me like you wouldn't believe. He's a little obsessed with me, which is perfect. But
the best kind of romance.
Patty adapted, see? And the ones who have adapted and have that emotional intelligence are going to become like the prized catch of men. It's not about 6 feet tall or 6 figures or whatever they're spewing. It's about, do you understand your internal emotional flaws? Are you willing to go to therapy? Will you pick me up a donut? Like you said, it's being considerate. And adapted are not going to get the girl anymore.
My brother has been married to my sister-in-law, Adrian. Adrian is the breadwinner in that family. And my brother loves to tell people that his wife is a lawyer, that she's so cool and she's so amazing. My brother is, and I say this with love, not much to look at. He's short, he's fat, he's going bald. He's an active balding right now and forever. Adrian looks at him like he hung the moon because you want to know what he does for their anniversary? He drops the kids off at who's ever gonna babysits them house. And then he takes her away with whatever little money he's got compared to her to go to the casino, because she likes going to the casino. And he takes all of it in. And when I was like, you don't even like gambling, he goes, oh, I hate gambling, but I love my wife, so we're gonna go gambling. And I was like,
not rocket science. It's
okay.
We're really simple people to please. Feed us, F us, and cuddle us after.
Yeah, he's got, out of the 3 siblings I've got, he has the most children. That's because Adrian is like a copy printer that's set to duplicate. It's like, girl, stop. But that's the point. The reason why they have so many kids is because she's like, this is mine. And she won't stop. Like, give him a break. Girl, let him get off you.
My husband...
But that's the point.
Yeah. My husband, he had a work trip down to Florida. Sorry, I'm bragging a little bit, guys. He had a work trip down to Florida that was supposed to be, he travels a lot for work. It was supposed to be a week long, and something happened and it got extended for another week. He flew me down to Florida for 4 days because he would be miserable going that long without me.
Tell me you have a dog without telling me you have a dog.
A 6'2" tatted Marine with a beard of a dog. That's why I write romance. Like, my life is perfect.
Well, I also feel like the romance industry appeals so much to specifically women, not only women, just specifically women, is because the fantasy of a man who loves you so much that no other woman can turn his head unless she physically does it is something we as women want. But that's not like the only thing. It's like, you know, if he cooks for me, that would be interesting, because if he's only obsessed with me, that's going into stalker territory, and that's where you go, yeah, I think maybe we need to go to therapy. But if it's just, he loves you, it's not a bad... Do you know what I mean? It's like, there's levels and gradients and stuff, but like, it's not rocket science. And that's, I think, what trips so much men up, because they're like, you guys write about paranormal romance and da-da-da-da, and it's like, I am so sorry that I would like to add a little bit of glitter to my romance. Chill out. I'm not asking you to be a vampire, a werewolf, or a ghost.
Right. No, I feel like in modern society, now most women are forced to work with the economy. They're also still defaulting most of the mental and manual labor that is involved with raising children. Still mostly mentally and physically responsible for the household. And so, yeah, they want to escape a little bit to be a billionaire's rigging buddy. And enough women want that escape enough that it is a $100 billion a year industry.
Yeah, and I think that's the reason why my brother has such a good relationship with his wife, is because one time one of his buddies said, you got stuck babysitting. He just looked at him and was like, babysitting implies it's somebody else's kids. These are mine. I specifically asked the manufacturer to make me this.
I ordered this.
First of all, what a wild comparison. I asked the manufacturer to make me this. But also to be like, this is mine?
Yeah.
It's not babysitting, this is mine?
It's wild.
And he has, in the children's minds, just as much authority as mom. You know how in a lot of sitcoms, you want me to tell your mother? And then, no! It's because in the kid's mind, there is a hierarchy, and mom outranks dad every day of the week. In my nieces and nephew's mind, mom and dad are a team, so we can't play the go ask your mother game, because dad won't play it. He'll just be like, I'll consult with your mother. And if she says no, then it's no.
That's awesome.
And I feel like a lot of women, it's like, I want that kind of romance. You gotta go looking for these kinds of guys. And like, you gotta really be there to micromanage, because it's like, you could lie. You could lie.
I mean, they are hard to find, especially if you're looking for the over 6 feet and muscles and the physical stuff. Like you said, your brother's not much to look at, but he's a fantastic partner and husband and parent.
He's balding.
I was like, but that's I think women who want that type of guy have to be willing to look for the not so attractive men.
Yeah.
Willing to give them a try.
And on top of it, listen, guys have their unrealistic standards for women, and women have unrealistic standards for men. Both of us are biased in this situation. However, I feel like if we can come to an agreement that this fantasy that we want has some nugget of truth, then we can meet on uneven ground.
I agree. And in the chat, no, it does exist as my husband. He's both. He's sweet and handsome.
And there are some guys who are like that. They are just like, you know what I want? I want a girl. Would you like to elaborate on that? No. Okay.
Well,
and then I got a girl. Okay.
To be fair, my husband, I don't know how to explain this. I'll tell a story. How about that? He, like I said, 6'2", 220 pounds of muscle, tats, chest and both sleeves, beard, looks like a motorcycle club guy, wears, thick boots. He got a kidney stone one night. And it came on like that. And like, we were all showered in our pajamas. And he was like, oh God, something's wrong. And I'm like, am I taking you to the hospital? He's like, I think you might have to. And I'm like, okay. So we rushed to the ER. Luckily they get him in fast, but there's like one nurse working in the ER. And I'm trying to get him pain meds, right? He's still a government civilian with the Marine Corps. So he doesn't do drugs. He's not drug seeking. So I'm trying to push the pain meds along because he's in the fetal position at this point. And so I'm kind of, I'm watching the nurse and she's visibly nervous. And I'm like, is this your first day? Like, why are you nervous? You're putting in an IV and administering medicine. Like, this should be routine by now. And the minute the pain meds hit and he started cracking jokes with her, she visibly relaxed. And I was so confused because I know he's a puppy dog, right? Like, I know he's the sweetest man in the entire world, but I forget that he looks like he kills rabbits for fun. And I was telling the story to my mom and she was like, well, yeah, look at him. He looks like he's in a gang. And I'm like, no, he doesn't. What do you mean? But so that's the kind of thing that my husband is, the full package. But if you passed him in the street, you're not going to start a conversation with him because he's intimidating as hell. He even, before we got together, he went to a party. I see that about the former Marines. Luckily, he did deploy to Iraq, but was never directly involved. So I scrolled myself. I'm sorry. ADHD who? Before he was fully finished with his divorce, he went to a party and later found out that a handful of girls there told the host of the party that they would have liked to hit on him, but he looked too scary.
Scary dog privileges.
Has like this resting bitch face, or I don't know what, but they were too scared to approach him. So that's like he is the full package, but you have to work to get him to open up. So there's work involved. It's not just he's gonna come hit on you at the bar. Like, he's very socially awkward. So yeah, it is, you do have to put in the work if you want the prize, the perfect man.
My TikTok was just like, the live will end in 5 minutes. I'm like, no, it won't. I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm here.
Patty's scary. Patty.
Yeah. Well, I also feel like some people look intimidating just because they have resting bitch face. And I think that's what throws a lot of people off, is because it's not I'm going to sound real pretentious here. I'm going to apologize in advance.
No,
Human faces are supposed to be able to emote and show a lot of things that are happening even internally inside your head. People who have resting bitch face clock the uncanny valley in a lot of people is because your face not moving indicates that you're not really being a person, even though you don't emote. It's not because there's something wrong with them, it's just because me thinking about what I'm going to get from Chili's in 20 minutes is not worth my facial exhaustion.
He also might be on the spectrum. He's never been tested.
Tell me you were raised by autistic people without telling me you were raised by autistic people.
Maybe. His sister and his aunt are both SPED teachers. I'm really tempted to ask his sister if she thinks he's on the spectrum. He's been peer reviewed.
As somebody who was raised by two of them, based on what you've told me, I give him the seal of approval of, no, you are. It's okay.
I'm like, oh, his special interest is his job, so that tracks. He's a helicopter mechanic, so he is big into aviation. He's got the flight radar app on his phone, so he knows who's flying above.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a special. You want to know what's wild? I was talking to my sister and everything, and she goes, "Yeah, both mom and dad's parents were also on the spectrum." I was like, "How?" And she goes, "You never asked them?" I was like, amazingly enough, with such a large age gap between all of us, no. My mother's father was able to tell the difference between planes by just looking at them, and I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I'll give it to you." And then my dad's father collected stamps, and I was like, I do not understand how there was a whole family tree of this, and it somehow missed all four of us. I don't understand how none of us hit that branch at all.
Yeah, my husband can tell the type of helicopter based on the sound.
Just a little tism, it's okay. As a treat.
Yeah, why not? No, my brother is on the spectrum a little bit. And my husband's grandfather is moving to a assisted living facility because he's getting older and has a type of cancer. And he has 4 kids. No, I'm sorry, 3. 1 passed away. And then of those kids, that would be my husband's mom. And then she has 5, and another uncle has 2. And so he had this massive house, tons of stuff in it, all beautiful. The horse and the globe are both from his property. And the house was for sale. The house was under contract. And so the whole family came to take what things of his that they wanted. And he had an entire finished basement full of woodworking tools, multiple saws, an entire cabinet, like floor to ceiling cabinet of different screws and nails and who knows what else. We're loading up the truck. We loaded up the truck. We're at home unloading it. And my husband goes, for all the woodworking stuff he had in there, I don't remember him ever building anything.
Is that what you're noticing? Not that he has it?
Right. His grandfather was a CPA. He didn't work with his hands. He collected woodworking tools for funsies. Okay. Sure.
You know what? I think it's so funny that so many writers seem to either be a little bit autistic or have so many autistic family members, and I was like, is that the trick? Is that how we hide? Is that how we hide in plain sight?
I think 1,000% being an author is a mental illness. It has to be. We are inventing worlds in our brain. What do you mean I invented 64 characters, all with complicated backstories and quirks and food preferences in my head by daydreaming? What do you mean? That's not normal behavior.
It's called maladaptive daydreaming. They diagnose you with that, I think, in therapy.
That's actually how I started my author journey.
Maladaptive daydreaming.
When I was going through my only divorce, it was such a stressful time in my life that I would disassociate. I would maladaptive daydream as a self-soothing mechanism. Because it was so stressful, when I would drive to work, I would daydream my perfect love story. It's also kind of how I manifested my current husband, because he was a single dad, tattoos. It's perfect.
He had to look like he walked out of a book talk book.
Yes.
Universe.
Yes.
Weird request, but okay.
And it gave it to me. And I would write the story down as it developed, not for anyone but myself to see, so that if a week from now, 2 weeks, a month from now, I wanted to maladaptive daydream again, I would have it all written out as a script. And that literally is what started me being like, oh, I remember writing, because I used to write as a teenager. I would write fantasy. Not teenager, I'm sorry, it's a 9, 10, 11. And so I started writing down my maladaptive daydreams, and I was like, I remember this. I like this. This is fun again.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of authors start their writing in their formative years, like preteen to early childhood, and your stories at that point are very rudimentary. They're pretty basic.
Horrible.
Right? It's right, they could not waterboard my first story out of me if they tried. I couldn't tell you it because it was so bad. However, However, I feel like that's like the foundation, that's like the base of all writers. It's like we had our own little stories, then some of us graduated to fan fiction, and then we did maladaptive daydreaming, and then we wrote a book.
Yeah, that's the pipeline. The
The pipeline for
the
the
ADHD
pipeline. Yeah, the pipe. Here's the author pipeline. You're a kid. You do your little straight up role play, right? We're just gonna call it exactly what it is with your toys. Straight up role play. But your stories don't make sense because they can't, because you're not able to do the connective tissue correctly. You're just jumping from plot point to plot point.
Yep. I read a lot as a kid.
Oh, so much reading.
As a form of escape, because both of my parents were at the very least emotionally neglectful. I think our generation, kind of, they all were. We were bedroom kids, right? Like, we weren't allowed to be in the house. Same, Jennifer. And this was the time before computers or cell phones, or there wasn't much to do. And so I read a ton. Goosebumps series, Babysitter Club, Saddle Club. Is that one of them?
I was born in '93, so
I'm much older than you.
I would say it's like, I know I read Goosebumps as a kid.
Yeah, Goosebumps was good. Super Scary Stories. Have you seen that one?
Mm-hmm.
That might have been before your time. I still have those. I think what's funny is I'm 41. We were exposed to like Stephen King as children. Like, my family would watch It when I was like 6 or 7.
There's an age rating on this.
Yeah. And like, I had Super Scary Stories, and my 10-year-old now, I don't think could read them. He could, absolutely. I don't think I would let him because they're scary.
Yeah, I was not a bedroom kid. My parents were very, and I say this lovingly, laissez-faire. So long as I didn't bring home an incurable disease or a baby, they were pretty like, as long as you tell us what you're doing and where you're going, right? With some caveats, but like that's like the main rules. So I was out all the time, but I did read a lot. I would take my books outside with me, and I would be devastated when I would forget to grab them going home. Ooh, I would ugly cry. It's like, my books are gone. And my dad was like, well, just go get them. Where were you? And I was like, great question. Where was I? Because you're a kid. You don't know where in the forest you were. You were just gone.
Yeah.
Also, my houses were always weird and creepy and had funerals happening. I didn't like being in them for too long because it gets tiring being around sad people all the time.
I bet. That'd be crazy.
Sorry, hold on. You can talk. I'm gonna go let my cat out of the room. She's trying to swipe at my feet.
Aw, no, you're good. I'm gonna go through the chat a little bit. Walking and reading is a thing? Absolutely. Were you hyperactive to be a bedroom kid, Patty? I was born 1985. I know, very old.
I was deliberately a bedroom kid. Yeah, I've become a bedroom adult, actually, in my old age.
Same. I didn't realize the level of emotional neglect until I had my own kid. I just thought it was normal. Because as a kid, you don't question why your mom doesn't want to spend time with you. You think it's perfectly normal. And then I had my own kid, and I'm like, oh, I really like you. You're my favorite person in the whole world. I want to give you everything and protect you from everything, and I really care about your emotional and mental well-being. And then I'm like, oh, that's what a mom is supposed to be like. That's not how I had a mom.
I also feel like a lot of Gen X parents, not you, I mean like parents of Gen Xers, right? Your parents didn't really understand what they were signing up for. Like now in the modern age, it's like, say this with me, say it lovingly. Children are the most inconvenient thing in the world. They are an inconvenience from the word go till at least 16. And then they have a brand new problem after that stage. They are an inconvenience. But it's not an inconvenience if you already go in knowing this is a full-time gig. No pension, no retirement, no thank yous. If you go in knowing that, you'll actually have an easier time doing it. But if you go in thinking, this is a little toy that I can do whatever I want with, you're going to be in for a really rude awakening, is because this will grow into its own person.
A whole ass person. Your parents were very detached from me, but they loved your siblings but tolerated me. I feel the same, Alyssa. So my mom didn't have any babies after me, but my dad had 2. And my brother and sister are like the most successful, well-adjusted people I've ever met. And I'm like, oh, that's what it would have been like to have, parents invested in your well-being.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, my parents always knew what was going on. Like, I thought I was so sneaky. I would sneak out of the house and, do you know what I mean? Kid stuff. And I remember it was the Saturday after I had snuck out. I'm sitting at the breakfast table I was eating, and my dad looked at me and goes, "Did you know that motor people actually pass away because they tried and walk on ladders without anybody holding it?" Because I was using a ladder to get out in the middle of the night. And then, like, putting it away. Do you know what I mean? Like, I trying to be sneaky, and I looked and I was like, no. And he's like, "I would prefer, if you're going to sneak out, to at least tell us you're leaving so that way we can lock up behind you and use the front door when you're coming back. I'll give you a key." I was like, do you know what I mean? It's like, if you guys knew, why didn't you say anything? They were like, "We didn't want you to think we were, like, inhibiting your ability to be a person, but also we would prefer if you would go through the front door." Actually.
yeah, I think sneaking out is a rite of passage. They didn't know how to parent a quiet kid. From that very early age, I learned that my needs didn't matter. So I learned to be a quiet kid, and not voice any opinions. And we have a very strained relationship now. We're not no contact. It is very much the roles have reversed, and I parent my mom, which that's a whole conversation we can have at a later date. 90s childhood was so messy. Yeah, that was me, Yuki. We lived in, not a city, a very busy suburb, and our house backed up to a national forest. So it was about 100 acres of woods. And I was either in my room or I was in the woods. And there was no real in between. And again, being in the woods by yourself for so long, you make your own stories of fairies and witches and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But I do think my parents' generation, the boomers, they had their own set of issues. And I think my mom had me very, very young. And I don't know if that's an excuse or not. But I was essentially a houseplant. Like, I was watered and fed. And
that's not really. Yeah. I don't think houseplants are sentient and grow up to pay taxes, but okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I feel like that's a whole discussion of writers are the most eccentric people, is because you have either writers who had, I don't want to brag, but I had a really good childhood. I'll say it, I was spoiled. I'm still spoiled. And then you, on the other hand, it's like, my parents were emotionally neglectful. I feel like I shouldn't say I had a good childhood comparatively. I feel like I'm bragging.
No, it is, again, I didn't realize it was emotionally neglectful until I had my own son. And then, like, he literally is my favorite person in the entire world. Like, I would choose him over my husband, which is crazy. But, at the time, it wasn't, like, traumatic, if that makes sense. But I do think authors, yeah, it's got to be some sort of, I'm not saying mental disorder, but, like,
coping mechanism?
I don't even know if I'd say that. Like, something in our brain demands creativity for us to create something, for one. Create something that scratches an itch. So for romance, it's that loneliness or that wanting to be seen and felt and heard. But yeah, being able to craft entire stories, entire characters, entire people out of daydreaming, you know? It's crazy.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people watched the movie The Bridge to Terabithia, and I was like, that was a book. You ever read the book? It's worse, because you actually get the funeral scene in the book.
Oh no.
Well, I also feel like The Bridge to Terabithia was a woman writing a story about a tragedy that happened to her son because his friend just unexpectedly passed away with no rhyme or reason, and it really messed him up. So she was trying to explain to him there is no rhyme or reason sometimes. It's just random.
Yeah, that's hard.
And the book served its purpose. It devastated a lot of people, but it did make you understand all this childhood whimsy in the movie that you see in the beginning is to explain to you this is just life. These are just kids. So when this tragedy comes out of left field, you are like the main character caught off guard. That's the point.
Yeah. 90s childhood, speaking of tragedies, what was the one movie where her best friend gets stung by bees and dies and he can't see without his glasses? That, like,
yes,
ripped your heart out and stomped on it. And there were so many movies like that. The Land Before Time, where he's like, his mom dies. They all died at the beginning. My girl, thank you.
I know.
They all died at the, like, woo.
Oh, also, Secret of Nim. That was just straight up nightmare fuel. Between the cat and the owl, I was like, Hey, Don Blue. A lot of follow-up questions. Are you good? Just first, right out the gate, are you good? Why did you draw it like this?
Or the freaking Fern Gully with the oil monster.
Uh,
Who greenlighted that for children?
right, I feel... I'm gonna get a little bit of hate for this controversial opinion. I feel like we have dumbed things down too much for children. Were we maybe exposed a little too early to concepts and themes? Yes. However, I feel like that early exposure in such a saturated way for, like, kids' movies, it was easier as a jumping off point to talk about it with the trusted adults in your life. Now, kids are getting movies like the new Animal Farm. Ooh, I almost screamed.
Is it out already?
I think so, but I think people are like,
All dogs go to heaven? Oh god.
oh,
Animal Farm movie.
yeah. It's got Seth Rogen in it.
Yeah.
They dumbed it down a lot.
It is out.
Dude, they take away a lot of the core elements, which I'm like, okay, the original Animal Farm, like the book, is not particularly well written. George Orwell, I love you, but Animal Farm is not particularly well written. But it is well written in a, this is what I'm trying to tell you way. The Animal Farm animated one that was made in the 80s was rough to look at, but it didn't cut any corners. This one is just like, we can't scare the kids. We have to do memes. We have to do... No.
And now they're, what do they call it? They're literally producing, I don't know if it was Netflix or Amazon. Somebody literally came out and said that they're making film as there's a word for it, but basically background, because they're expecting everybody to be on their phones. So they're dumbing it down even more so that people half paying attention will get it. And it's just like,
I don't care if Phil in the background is not paying attention. I'm paying attention, and you reiterated this point 4 times already. I got it. Let's go.
Yeah. I don't know.
But yeah, I think that's the reason why the reading comprehension is going down too, is because kids want to just get to the ending. They want you to just, the character. I am the main protagonist, and I love the female protagonist, so we're gonna have a really complicated relationship and then have 5 babies, and then the next scene is, and the end. That's not, what are you getting out of that? What are you getting out of that?
It's like fast food.
I know.
Is fast food? Yeah. Is it good? No. It's cheap and convenient.
I've always said this, and I stand by this. I like watching anime for 2 reasons. One, there are certain specific scenes and arcs that are like fast food, right? You could tell that this is, we gotta pad out the time before we get to where we're going next. That's fine. But the overarching story is always present in them. So it is technically long-form content. Like One Piece, people were born, graduated college, and have had children for as long as that's been running. Mm-hmm. And it's still going.
Anime is also one of those that I know if I start watching, nothing's gonna get done. I will be sucked into a hole, and I will live there for the next month.
Yeah, and Amber, your daughter says movies take too long? What do you mean? What do you mean? Okay, we ain't got time to talk about that. I think your daughter needs to be strapped into a chair, Clockwork Orange style, and forced to watch the Studio Ghibli movies back to back to back.
Oh, that's funny.
And yeah, like I know that we've been circling around the subject of it, but writing is basically long-form content. Like, could I give you the flash notes of the story? Yes, very easily. And it still doesn't actually tell you what happened in the story.
So their hot take, a lot of the romance novels that are coming out for the big 5 publishers are pushing 400-500 pages. And I understand why from a financial perspective, because the more pages read, the more money is earned. However, I'm finding that readers in the industry don't want long romance. They, Pucking Around, for example, if you read the 1-star reviews, a lot of them are complaining that it didn't need to be 450 pages. My book Choices has an audio book out, and one of the reviews says basically Christina is fantastic for being able to create a believable, well-rounded, complete romance in 8 hours and not need 20. And so it makes me wonder, not saying necessarily that people have a short attention spans, but like, what do readers want? Do they want a concise love story in 300 pages? Or do they want the 400, 500? I am really enjoying, Natasha Madison. Her books are longer, and I find that I enjoy that. But Alyssa, but
It's okay, we won't tell anybody.
yeah, what do you think? You write in a different genre, so that might be different expectations.
I particularly like thicker books, and the reason why I like thicker books is because I have aphantasia, which means I cannot picture things in my mind. I have to literally draw them out as you're describing them, or I will not be able to see it.
That's
so
crazy.
If you just tell me they're in a room, I'm like, that's great. What does the room look like? You're taking me out of the story by being too literal, if that makes sense. So like Wuthering Heights, the Count of Monte Cristo, right? The older books where they were getting paid by the word and they're just sitting there describing the intricate detail of the paintings and the clocks and everything.
A Hobbit with the
It's
door.
helping me, right? It's helping me actually be immersed in the story, and I understand modern readers. I do not need you to describe in detail what the Mona Lisa looks like. I have Google. But like, I like describing the rooms for things is because it's for me. I'm doing it for me when I write. And I find that the longer form books actually let you sit with the character's thought process longer.
I agree with that. Alyssa, For the Fans is 600 pages? That's crazy.
That's too long of a book.
But you read it and it doesn't feel like it's 600 pages.
Yeah, that's like Alchemized, I think, is like 1,000 pages, and I was like, it better be worth it. Guess what? It's not. It's 1,000 pages worth of like ink and glue with only like 450 pages worth of content.
Really?
Ooh, because it's based on a fan fiction that mixed two different fan fictions together, so much of the world building isn't fleshed out in a way that's believable. So it's a lot of shock value, and it's like, okay, this shock value actually doesn't add anything to this story other than shock value, which means I don't consider it part of a book. It's there just for spectacle. So if I take it out, there's nothing else past it. So it's only 450 pages worth of content.
Gotcha. Yeah, my goal is always 90,000 words. If it happens, if it's a solid story at 71 and I don't feel like it needs more, I won't push it. But I think my biggest, I want to say, got up to 98,000 words. But it felt complete. I think that's my point, is that it needs to feel complete.
Yeah, like the book needs to have a conclusion, even if it's not a conclusion that readers would like. Like, my book ends on technically a cliffhanger. The book ends with her in the hospital having defeated everything that she needed to in the book, and she's explaining to her cousin what happened, and he's just straight up like, that doesn't explain everything. She goes, what do you want me to explain to you? I told you everything that happened. That is not a good conclusion to the book, but it is a conclusion because there's no way for her to describe what she went through because it sounds fantastical.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
So, well, that's the point though, right? It's like, the book can either have a satisfying conclusion or it can end in an unsatisfying way that is believable. But you can't ask me to do 4,000 pages to get to a conclusion that you as the reader would want. That makes no sense. That's not fair to you or me. I have to rate this.
Yeah, Gabby, blonde MMCs are not popular in books.
It's because blonde is associated with so many things, and you don't want your dark romance main character that's male to be a blonde, because then you're like, he's just a little dumb.
I have a himbo main male character in a Rockstar series I'm planning. I don't know if he's not blonde though, but I read a book called Himbo Hitman that is really cute, and the main character it's very Pink Panther-ish, where he is trying to be a hitman and he keeps failing successfully, if that makes sense. It's really funny.
All I can think of now is doo-doo, 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 doo-doo. It's like, stop.
Yuki, I haven't read Game On yet. Is it good? I couldn't get into her second one. She's also a darker rom-com, which I think is a very fun blend of genres. Brynn Weaver is a dark rom-com. Who else? But that's a very fun genre.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to write my first romance, and I didn't even do it right. A Man and His Wife run a company together, but she opened up her own side business underneath her maiden name, and that business has her face on it, but for their company, she doesn't advertise it because she's background. And somebody that wants to take him down accidentally takes a picture of them kissing goodbye in the parking lot, and he goes, because her face is known for her other company that's on her maiden name, they're like, if you don't give us this stuff, I haven't gotten that far, we're going to tell your wife that you're cheating on her. And he's like, how am I cheating on my wife with my wife? Explain it. Make the math make sense. And it's supposed to be kind of funny is because he's like, do you see what this is? Paper? Yes. We've seen it our whole lives. It's on the paper. Somebody is blackmailing me. Wow, that's interesting and new. I didn't think we'd ever get this far. They're blackmailing me because I'm cheating on you. Oh, what other woman was desperate enough to say yes? I was like, I'm not even doing this right. This is more rom-com than it is romance, but like, I don't know any other way to write it.
That's good though. Everybody loves good banter.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have to find another romance author. I'm gonna be like, let me slip you my pages. I need you to tell me what I'm not doing right, because I don't know what I'm doing.
You can send it to me. I'll take a look.
Oh no! I can't ask somebody who's cool to look at my stuff.
Of course you can. I'm not that cool.
Actually, Amber, because now that I'm on the live, I could talk about this. Amber is planning on going to do editing now for TikTok, and she wants to be able to start chomping her teeth on stuff. And because my Dark Rapunzel romance is technically done, I told her, tell you what, I'm going to give it to you, cut your teeth on this, and then you could actually start getting people invested in it because they'll see that you are actually working on a really thick manuscript. It's 283 pages. Like, there's plenty of her to, like, dig into.
That's awesome.
So I'm proud to say that I am her first client, and it's like, ooh, I'm gonna shove this at everybody. You should hire her. You should hire her. You should hire her.
What is she doing for you again?
She's doing editing.
Nice.
And I feel like that, yeah, Gabby, I think that this community is very much all of us always help each other doing our stupid stuff all the time, is because it's like, I am poor. How much money do you have? Like $300. My friend will do it for $300. Really? Yes. But you gotta, like, shout her out. Thank you.
Yeah, I just formatted a story for somebody who was in my live yesterday.
Yeah, formatting is hard.
So why not?
Yeah, Amber is hoping to make it a thing, so it's like, yeah, you can use me as your guinea pig. Amber, I will tell you up front, I am sorry. I change tenses constantly.
I think every author does.
Yeah, and I laughed just because I made Amber, like, I wrote her out since you're new, I made you a pricing sheet that you can use. You'll have to fix it up by yourself. She was like, I don't have this many years of experience. It's like, that's why I said fix it up. I'm not going to do everything for you.
That's awesome.
But yeah,
book talk can be very toxic with witch hunts, but I also like that they also hold bad actors accountable. So there was an author who was trying to copyright like a trope.
Oh, yeah. You can't do that.
Right. And like that's gross behavior. And like that, the book talk community should call out gross behavior. I'll stay on one paragraph for an entire Christina live. That's my editing pace. Gabby.
That's hilarious.
But
well, that's like the woman who wrote Shy Girl, the book that got labeled as AI, and I was like, okay, for the sake of this conversation, let us pretend for a moment that yes, she did in fact use AI to write this book. From my understanding, these big publishing houses have like 30,000 different editors. You're going to sit there and tell me that this book didn't get handed to an editor and didn't get marked up and read like the Communist Manifesto and then handed back to her? Because this is telling me either you guys are being too hypercritical and everybody's using AI now, even if it's not, or this big 5 publisher dropped the ball so hard that now they're trying to play defense. One of these two things is thing, but it can't be both.
Authors sound like AI because AI was trained on authors. AI was trained on our pirated work. So yes, you can still very easily tell when a book is AI written, because it's not quite matured enough to sound like a human. But the AI witch hunt needs to be very, very careful in its witch hunt. Like, don't assume because it reads that it was written by AI that it might be. You need to look into the author. Do they have a social media presence? Do they have a website or a mailing list? You know, when was this book put out? When were there other books put out? There's one AI author who I'm confident to say it's AI because they put out, it reads like AI, one. They put out 12 books in 3 months, which could have been written before, but not likely. There's zero social media presence, no website, no nothing. And it's painfully AI written, obvious, because they shove every imaginable trope in the thing. There's a book out right now, I think it's #1 in Firefighters, that is a 1,000-page AI written Omegaverse, reverse harem firefighter romance.
Would we like to pick a single category?
Exactly. AI author is a crazy phrase that we have now. Well, and that one author who, on it, like, with her full chest, was like, I've trained an AI to pump out an entire romance book in 90 minutes. And I published 100 books last year over various pen names. Is that like, I would hide that fact if I had done that. That would not be something I'd be bragging about. And she's got a course online now teaching other people how to do it.
Is this the lady that taught the AI to be her boyfriend?
I don't think so.
I feel like this, you know what, there are so many people who are saying this with such confidence that it's like, no.
My psychosis is real.
Yeah, I don't understand the AI hype. Like, to be honest, as a writer, I like being able to sit there and rewrite a sentence 6 times and then realizing the first time I wrote it was the correct way. Why had I go through it 6 times? And then also realizing, am I trying to spell gauche like I spell gnocchi? Is this a GN word? And then you have to sit there and type to Google, how do you spell gauche? And you didn't even spell it right, so Google's like, do you mean gosh? No, gauche.
Fad River Fox author, this is the person who was like, I'm pushing out hundreds of AI books, who's really winning. Yes, exactly. She was proud of it.
Gabby is right with this. They do not enjoy our craft. They enjoy the possibility of passive income.
1,000%.
Being an author isn't passive. It's like, here's what's going to happen. You got to publish the book, then you got to sell 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 the book, then you got to find somebody to actually take you on for like events, then you got to sell the book, then all this is happening, you got to write the next book.
It's called Not the Firefighter, Alpha's Bookish Mate, an Omega-verse reverse harem romance. Possessive Small Town Alpha Kings, book 27. What?
27?
It's #1 in Firefighters romance. By J.K. Serena and Lyra Flux. No profile pictures for either. It is 1,112 pages long. Do you guys want to know how much it makes? Probably not. That's going to be depressing.
$3.
$34,000 a month.
Ew.
That is gross. Yeah, Gabby, you have to be a salesperson. Yeah, writing the book is probably the easiest part of being an author. Marketing the book is where, oh my gosh, it's book 29 of 72.
Ew. And yes, Kaya, it is hard to find beta readers. And you want to know what the worst part about it is? When you give it to somebody else to beta read and they're like, I'm sorry, I've been busy. And you're like, yeah, I've been busy too. That's why I gave you this. I need to step away from the book. Yeah, 67 volumes is crazy. That's some American Girl book writing right there. It's like, how many people are working on this project at the same time?
It's 72 books.
No.
72.
No, that's okay. That's too many. That's too many.
Too many.
That's too many. No, that's okay. That's too many.
They've got pretty good reviews. I think they probably bought a lot of their reviews.
I think so too. Firefighter romance, that's its whole entire separate genre. Reverse harem, that's its own entire separate genre. Omegaverse, that's its own entire separate genre. I'm sorry, ma'am, I do not need ketchup, mustard, and relish all on the same fucking sourdough. I would like some variety.
So book 1, Alpha King's Second Chance Pregnant Mate, a Rejected Mate Secret Baby Shifter Romance. Book 2, Rejected Runaway Mate's Baby for the Lycan King. Book 3, Rejected Runaway Omega's Secret Baby for the Billionaire Alpha King. So they're also keyword what's it called? Not shoving. Keyword
Shilling.
Yeah.
You're right, Sean. I need Frank Azar because I've been run over by this abuse of the copyright system. Yeah, and why are they all kings? That's a great question. Why are they all kings? There's no emperor, there's no duke.
Rejected, pregnant, and exiled by the Lycan prince. So there's a prince.
Oh, a king in the making.
Goodness gracious.
I really dislike people using keywords because Yuki is hitting it right on the head. Keywords are just client baiting, and it's not fair is because If I tell you that it's got all these keywords in it and I only make one passing mention of it one time in one paragraph in one book, it's not the thing. I just did it to hit the algorithm. That's not fair.
So I feel very bad for Navessa Allen because she indie published Lights Out, wildly successful. She gets picked up by a publisher for a reprint and book 2 and 3 in the series. In book 2, they market it as a biker series, a biker story, a biker romance. The main male character gets on a bike twice. And so that's not a biker romance, but the publisher wanted to hit that biker romance genre keyword book talk. Mm-hmm. And the marketing promised something that it did not deliver on. And that's not her fault. That's the publisher's fault. But if you look at a lot of the poor reviews of Caught Up, it is so not a biker romance. Exactly. And I hate that for her, that her publisher decided to market it in a way that it did not live up to the expectations, because that's not her fault. But no.
That's the thing though, right? It's like, your books are romance. That's what it says on the tin. It's canned bread. It's romance. It's exactly what it says. If I pick up your book and think, this is going to be a great noir mystery thriller, and then the whole book is nothing but romance, my expectations were because I was stupid and didn't read. It's not you lying to me.
To be fair, that has happened. In the last out, it is a MMF with swords crossing, and the blurb literally says, a married couple brings a third into the bedroom. I don't know how more obvious I could get. And I have had people leave bad reviews saying they didn't like the bi aspect of it.
You're going to sit there and complain that you bought sourdough bread when you bought the sourdough bread? Get out of here.
Yep. And I'm like, I don't know how to make this any more clear that it's got bi-awakening in it. That's one of the tropes. Is bi-awakening. Like,
yeah, I don't understand. You know what? The reading comprehension is in the toilet, fam. Nobody knows how to read no more.
That's true. Maybe that's the problem.
Well, if you tell me that your romance book has bi-awakening, my first thought is either going to be him or it's going to be her. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like one or the other. I have a 50-50 shot no matter which path I pick.
Yeah, let me see. I'm gonna bring up the blurb right now. Oh, it doesn't like it.
Oh, it doesn't like it.
Lauren and Alexei were once the golden couple of the NHL. Him a seasoned defenseman for the Titans, her the fierce woman who stood by him through it all. But behind closed doors, they're distant, exhausted, and aching for something more. Enter Ryan Shepard, the team's newest rookie. Blah, 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 blah. When sparks fly, the young rookie could be just what the couple needed, but 3 hearts on the ice means more than just heat. A steamy, emotionally rich MMF romance about second chances, open hearts, and the kind of love that plays for keeps. So maybe I could make it more obvious.
No, that was pretty obvious. This is what I heard. So this couple are married and they're like super cool and they are like, we want to spice up the bedroom. Insert this twink. Oh no, feelings abound. That's what I heard, right? That's what you said to me. That's what my brain heard.
You did. Yeah. You do have to, I don't want to say dumb it down for some people. But so, okay, chat. How important is the blurb in your decision to pick up a book or not? Not obvious for sort of thing. I'm going to make a note to make it more obvious. I agree.
It's a 50-50, says Gabby.
Yeah. I don't read the blurb.
I feel like the blurb is just specifically for marketing, something to really quickly push out and explain and then just keep going.
Yeah, and it's for Amazon's algorithm as well to know where to place it.
It's also really hard sometimes to just categorize books. Do you know what I mean? It's like, how am I going to explain to you reverse harem if people don't know what reverse harem is? Like, that's a whole entirely different conversation.
Right. I have, my mom's friend was like, he was like, my mom explained to him the gist of it being reverse harem. He was like, oh, do you write from experience? I'm like, my husband is not sharing me with his 2 closest friends. Like, no, why are you being weird about it?
It's called fan fiction, friend. Other people have had this experience. I'm cheating.
Exactly. Like, this is the genre I like to read, so that's where I'm getting the information from.
Silly. No, and I feel like romance is not how do I phrase this? Yeah. Romance is such a large market because so many people want the romance, but there's so many different islands in the sea of romance that you'll find your people no matter where you put your boat.
Ice Planet Barbarians, Unhinged, for example. Yep.
That's sci-fi romance.
Mm-hmm.
Reverse harem. That's one woman, a lot of guys romance.
That's so funny.
A good sit-down conversation about the definition of fantasy is in order. We could talk about it because on some level I feel like even books based entirely in reality are some brand of fiction, of fantasy.
You have to suspend belief for a little bit. Because has a married couple, NHL couple, taken in a third? Probably not in real life. But
and if they did, we wouldn't know that.
True.
And the worst part, I think, about it is people treat their book characters like real people that need to be held up to the morality that real people need to be held up to, and they treat real people like fictional characters that can do no wrong. I'm like, I do not know where this disconnect is happening, but you guys gotta flip that.
That's one of my, in real life, I'm not going to call it an ick. It's not an ick. It's an ew or a discernment type thing. It's they don't seem to live in their own reality. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah,
Yuki. It's where like I can see things clearly and they can't, and that's a red flag for me. So, for example, one of my son was invited to a friend's house. Friend is very loosely translated, and the mom spent the entire time complaining that they couldn't afford the house they were in. They were going to have to move. Their property taxes just went up, and they're on a single income. He is a plumber. She's a stay-at-home mom, and don't like that friend. I don't, but for several reasons. Thanks, Gabby. And then the next time I talked to this woman, she drove up to upstate New York to buy 2 purebred golden retrievers.
Okay, why? Why are we making the choices we're making?
Exactly. And that was like one of my like, this person doesn't live in reality. This person can look at the things in front of her and deny her reality. That to me is not a safe person. There's another guy that I used to work with who, and I'm not yucking anyone's yum. I'm not judging looks. Those are expensive and they eat a ton. It's like me pretending I don't know why I'm broke. So he has a coworker he works with and plays softball with, and this guy is a 6 on his best day.
That's nice.
He's fit, but he's nothing to write home about. He's balding, has an average job. There's nothing to write home about. And his wife, who's an incredibly brilliant woman, they have 4 kids in total. I think she has one from a prior marriage. Their youngest is a year old, and she's put on a little bit of baby weight, but she's working her ass off to get it off. And he, like, legit, straight to her face said, "I don't find you attractive anymore." Sir? So it's okay. It's acting in a way that doesn't align with a 6 on a good day. Like, sir. You should see her feet right now, that she's still even with you.
You want to know what? I also feel like a lot of people, this includes women, people in general, do not understand. The reason why the baby weight is there is because the placenta, which is like the whole thing that keeps the baby safe, is actually really heavy. That's a whole entire brand new mass inside of you that your body now has to accommodate for, and with it being gone, it still has to accommodate for the fact that you just went through the most harrowing experience in the world. You made a person. That is not nothing. You gave all kinds of stuff for the production of this little person. And it'll take a long time before your body is back up to 100%. By the time it's back up to 100%, you'll still need that baby weight, because now that's fat reserves for you.
Well, and you also have to understand, if she's got a 1-year-old, newborn, whatever, in the first year of his life, and several kids that all have activities, and an husband, and a full-time job, you know she's going to take care of herself. She's going to be the last one to meet her own needs.
Yeah. My brother said it best. He goes, our household is run like this. Baby, because they have a new baby, right? He's like, the baby is up, the baby is loud, the baby needs to be taken care of, he's colicky, me and her are taking shifts back and forth. It's not like we've never had a colicky baby before, but colicky babies are like the hard version of regular babies. And then we also have 2 4-year-olds, we have 3 8-year-olds, we have a 15-year-old, we have 2 16-year-olds. Our house is constantly busy, it's constantly loud, and things are happening. And I was like, the girls have activities. He goes, that's my point. The teenagers have to be dropped off and picked up and dropped off and picked up, and then the little ones have to be dropped off and picked up and dropped off and picked up. He goes, our house basically runs on a 24-hour clock, and maybe if we're lucky on the 25th hour, we get 8 hours of sleep. And I was like, that sounds like torture. I don't know how you do it. Plus cooking and cleaning.
Yeah.
And that's I think why Adrian stays with him, is because she's the breadwinner, so a lot of the household stuff falls to him, but he likes cooking and cleaning.
Yeah, that's sweet, Kaya.
I kind of get one. Parents everywhere for as long as we've been alive. Just don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Everybody get in. Everybody get in. Ain't nobody got time. But like I said, like an hour ago? Children are the most inconvenient thing in the world, is because they require a lot of hands-on maintenance for a long time. If you're not ready for that kind of hands-on maintenance, maybe you shouldn't have one. Maybe you should get a dog.
I say get a dog, get a houseplant. That was my whole thing with having our son, is I couldn't imagine making the decision to bring a child to this earth, a whole ass human being with a whole future 100 years of life to live, and not give him everything, and not put the work in, and not go through the inconvenience and the hassle. You know what I mean? Like, when he was little, he didn't like to sleep alone, so I wouldn't make him, because why would you, I don't know how to explain this. As a child of the tribal peoples, children would not sleep off by themselves in a dark corner of the teepee. You know what I mean?
Or the cave. It was the sick and the elderly and the little people all sleep in the center, and everybody else who can fight is on the outside.
Exactly. And the idea that, I mean, he would get so physically upset he would vomit, because in his mind he's on the verge of death. He's the lion's about to eat him. So why bring a child into this world and not give it your all? That was what hit me when I first had him. And we talk about parenting and our parents. But yeah, they are very inconvenient. They're also the best thing in the world.
Yeah, little kids have the best questions that you just are like, how do I answer this?
Mm-hmm.
I got asked by my 5-year-old niece, my sister's kid. She looked at me, she goes, Auntie, I have a question. And I was like, okay. She goes, do clouds dream?
I love that.
Hold on, right? Like, how do you answer? There's no way to answer that. There's no way to answer that that's going to be sufficient. And it's like, I just defaulted to science. I was like, so clouds are actually because the world goes through the water cycle. What's the water cycle? The water cycle is where the sun makes the water evaporate up into the sky and it collects as clouds, and then it rains and it comes back down, and they do it all over again. And she just looked at me, she's like, so like a rotating door. I was like, yes. She goes, okay, but do clouds dream? And I was like, I don't know.
Yes.
Again, though, right? It's like kids ask questions that to us sound wild, and it's like, I don't know how to answer that question. Maybe, sure.
Love how their brains work.
The 3-year-old made me super duper laugh, is because he looked at me and goes, Auntie, he's like, I have an idea. You're 3. I think your ideas end and begin at I have an idea, but go, shoot. He goes, what if we all collected all the monies in the world? All the monies in the world. And I was like, okay. He goes, and then everybody lives in the same house. I was like everybody? He goes, yes, everybody lives in the same house. Everybody collects all the money, and then we just all share everything.
I love that.
And I was like, that, okay.
I radicalized my son when he was little. He was maybe 5. And it's same idea, where he was talking, I don't know how we got on the subject, but he was like, why do you have to go to work? I'm like, well, I go to work in exchange for my hours, my time. They pay me money. Why do you need money? Things cost money, food, the house, the electric. And he's like, we could grow our own food. And I'm like, yeah, we totally could. He was like, so basically he completely dismantled the idea of capitalism and working for money and just spending those 8 hours that I would be in the office at home growing the food. And I'm like, damn it, you're smart.
I think that's the thing. I think children view the world tragically simplistically, and that tragic simplicity makes so much sense, and you trying to debunk it makes you sound like the dick.
It makes me sad.
Like, I don't know how to explain to you that I didn't even set up this system. It is a system that was set up eons and eons ago by other people, and now all of us agree to it.
My dog wants my attention. What can I say?
Yeah, oh, it's a dog. It's a good boy. Sorry.
It's a good boy.
What kind of dog is that?
He is 55% Australian Shepherd. We had to do his DNA because I thought for sure he was Shepherd Bernese Mountain Dog, but his DNA was 55% Shepherd and anywhere between 9 and 11% Saint Bernard, Belgian Malinois, Great Pyrenees, Rottweiler, and I feel like I'm missing one. So Australian Shepherd and Mutt.
I laugh as because every time I ask dog people that, they go into what you do, and then they're like, "What kind of cat do you have?" I was like, "I found it in the trash can. It's Cat. She's gray."
I was like, do they have cat breeds? Not like dog breeds. It's either orange, tabby, or black.
Here are the cat breeds as I understand them. There's black, there's white, there's bald, there's variety,
right.
There's kitten, and then there's old kitten.
Yes.
And then big. Some of them are big. There are all the cat breeds.
That's funny. Yeah, it's American short hair.
She's an American short hair.
Like all of them.
Okay, like there's official name breeds, but it's like the cat owners don't really double check that. I fished it out of the dumpster. I love her very much.
My cat from college.
Bye, Yuki.
She was a street cat. She just followed me inside. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess you live here now. Cool.
That's literally how cats domesticated themselves. Human. Here's how this is going to work. Yep. I catch mice. You don't like mice. Correct. I will live here. On purpose? Yes. Okay.
Hey, you good boy. Yeah,
That's like dog. We domesticated those. The cats were like, bet I'll do it better and on my own terms.
We got our cat because, like I said, we live on a farm. And TMI, but we're all friends here. I was downstairs in the kitchen naked for some reason, and I opened the trash can lid to throw something away, and a mouse jumped out of it and hit my stomach. I'm screaming, right? I'm jumping and screaming. It hits the floor, jumps back up onto my leg before hitting the floor again and like scrolling away. And I'm like, I'm done. I'm so done. I'm no more mice. I cannot. So we ended up adopting Ricky, who also has. So my husband and my son have the same birthday. Our cat also has the same birthday as our dog. All coincidentally. Don't know how it happened.
Does anybody not have this birthday in this house?
Me, I'm the only one.
Mom's the only one who gets her own birthday cake.
Good boy. Okay. But yeah, do you have anything else you want to talk about?
No, unless you want to shout out your upcoming book.
The book that I'm working on right now is a Spicy Worker novella. So the premise is one of the main male characters, Gareth, was the high school quarterback and had a crush on the Spicy Worker back in high school and used to bully him because of his inability to sort of process the crush because he was very in a heterotypical environment. And, years later, he gets married, has a couple kids, becomes an alcoholic, gets into AA, wife divorces him, and he realizes, he comes to terms with the fact that he's always been gay. And he finds Trey, the Spicy Worker, his website, submits a request for a meeting. At first, Trey's like, nah, dude, like, you were such a jerk to me in high school. Like, I'm not gonna mess with you. So he invites him to dinner to apologize, because part of getting sober, part of the AA program is apologizing for people you've wronged in the past. And so they go out to dinner. Trey decides to give him a chance. They end up falling in love, and I won't give away the spoilers.
As you do. Well, thank you so much for agreeing to meet me. It was really nice meeting you.
Yeah, of course. This was fun.
Yes. Fern, you came in at the last second. Okay, well, thank you so much. Today is actually garbage day for me, so I gotta run around and go clean up my house so I can throw out my trash. But thank you so much.
Get off the bus here too soon, but I will talk to you later. Have a good one.
You too. Bye, guys. And to all the people still left in the audience, in case I don't see you, good morning, good afternoon, or good night. I'll see you soon. Bye.